Hello again. So, this is back to the Alliance RPG book. I have to eventually go back to that drive, that link I found earlier in the year, and download the rest of the RPG books to my phone. Which, they're just convenient to have on the phone, I guess. So I can do a quick reference if I'm bored, I can just quickly review something. It helps when I'm working on my own little things, whether it be my WoW D&D campaign I'm running, or a Fallout campaign I've been more or less building for a few months for someone that obviously didn't really care about wanting to play it like they said they did. So that's not an issue altogether. I do let so I've played in two campaigns, both campaigns, well, three campaigns, all three campaigns ended early. Uh, no, just two campaigns. I'm in the third one now, which I only played one session of because well, of course, when the DM wanted, when I wanted to join the game, when I had my Sundays kind of back to myself, um, I got to do one session where I made what is it, a rune, a rune, a rune master. I think the rune master, basically a dark dwarf rune master with the as a hex blade. And the whole gimmick is that I just wanted my guy to be giant is a dwarf that can go up to 19 feet tall. And for like a whole minute, he can be 19 feet tall. And just swinging a giant axe that is just covered in runes. The whole gimmick is that he found axe, picked up someone, and the axe kind of guided him towards an area, and he saw it was full of runes, and started carving the runes down onto his weapon because he felt a compulsion to. And whenever he makes a decision, he can hold his weapon up, let the light gleam off of it, and see what runes get, reflect the light the most, and he interprets that as an answer or guiding him towards stuff. So, simple thing. More or less just a mercenary lumberjack guy. Yes, Paul Bunyan was the gimmick for it. I was thinking about if he got to a certain level because, well, essentially, the next level to do is to go into the whole, put another level into the warrior, into the fighter class for the ability to basically go into uh, his own version of rage, barbarian rage, his own version of it. And then after that, it's going to be into ranger, so I can have a cow, so I can have a cow pet to help me fight. So I can just literally be Paul Bunyan. It's a dumb gimmick. But yeah, other characters I've had in D&D has been a paladin. Because the first campaign I played in, it was a weird campaign. There's zombie apocalypse in the real world, and then everything's kind of everyone's kind of mutating in these fantasy races. My character started off as a normal human and became a Goliath. Started having mental issues because he was staying up, just staying up all the time because he's paranoid about things coming to kill everyone. So he didn't sleep. He didn't sleep really at all. And yes, I was putting the exhaustion onto him, so he kept getting worse and worse. The only sleep he really got was when he was knocked out, and then he lost some exhaustion, which was great. The original idea for him in the campaign was that he was constantly adding things to his thermos of coffee because he loved coffee. That's how he was staying awake, was coffee. But he was going to keep adding things to his coffee thermos to kind of, and the way he described it was flavor, season the coffee, make it more enjoyable. See what everything did. He added this weird hive mind worm to his coffee. He added sentient meatball meat to his coffee that was mixed in with half a rat, and part of the monk who got bitten by some of the sentient meatballs had his flesh missing. So there's all this stuff mixed into the coffee. The way he does, he makes the coffee, then he pours it in the thermos, shakes it, and then serves the coffee out of the thermos. How he healed was he would drink from the thermos or give someone some of the coffee from the thermos. That's the only way he would heal. That's the whole gimmick. So he had to walk up to someone and get them to drink from the thermos. Yes, that's... I was working with something. Essentially, me doing that got us out of a jam, which one of the players, who turned out to be the big bad evil guy, which was a real dread thing. It was the guy was an asshole. Essentially, he killed off my character. He had my character killed off, and my former friend's character killed off because he just didn't like our characters, and one other person in the party didn't like our characters. Mind you, there were a lot of other people in the party that were fine with our characters, but the main guy, didn't like it because, well, honestly, I never really got an answer why he didn't like our characters. I think it had to do with the fact that his character were captured. We don't have our weapons, and we're in a holding cell because we just came out of like a dream world thing. And he starts attacking everyone. So what we do is, well, I rush him to the ground, and me and someone else helping me with my character and a few other characters helping me, we gag him, put a bag over his head, and handcuff his hands behind his back, and just leave him there. Yes, it took him out of the game for a little bit, but he was actively gonna get us killed. Was that a shitty thing to do? Yeah, probably. But it was better than us having to fight without weapons, because I think I was the only... me and our barbarian were the only two who could actually fight without weapons. Well, and then the monk. So yeah, the only three of us out of like 7 that could actually fight. And we are literally just surrounded by like 30 guys. So we weren't getting out of that easily. I don't know. But the way that campaign, the big finale of that campaign was going to go was we were going to fight basically the Shredder, because the monk had this backstory where the whole gimmick of the monk was that he was an actor and got really into character, and basically got way too into character. And the DM said, "Oh, I like that idea." He has 4 masters, 4 people helping basically make the fan movies they were making, which is retellings of Bruce Lee's and Jackie Chan, Ninja Turtle movies. Just remaking all of it. And because everyone was mutating into different things, the 4 masters got mutated into actual fucking turtles. Not the turtle race of D&D. No, the actual turtles, giant turtles, which is funny. I said, hey, I asked him, hey, seeing how my character's the only one that can use a shield, and I have this insane strength. My character's strength was extremely high. He was a paladin, so that was fun. But I think at one point I was able to just carry 500 pounds. I could just carry 500 pounds. So I said, how much does the turtle weigh? Probably about 400 pounds. Can I strap to my arm? What do you mean? Can I just replace my shield with the turtle? Because we were trying to fight the turtles. Well, we saw the turtles fight, and nothing could hurt the turtles, because apparently the DM, made the turtles have the equivalent of DC 26. No, AC 26. So they just did not take damage. And I strapped onto my arm, which I treated as, basically a normal +2 shield, that +2 AC shield like I had to begin with. But I had a chance to re-roll one. One crit against me. So if someone managed to crit against me, I could re-roll it. Now this was very important later on. So before the player that hated all of us, he is a demon himself. and this was our DM's first campaign. He was DMing, so this other DM wanted to basically co-DM with him and whatnot, which it was kind of weird because it didn't give our main DM a chance to actually, try to figure out things himself because the other guy just took over and did stuff for him. But some of the stuff that happened um, was just weird in that fight. Instead of staying in the set piece, he was trying to escape the set piece, just go off on his own. And we couldn't do that because of... Okay. Sorry. I couldn't see a stop sign. Apparently, it blocked the entire road off in front of me, so I'm now behind a piece of truck farming equipment. Couldn't see past the fucking sign. That's one thing about some of these rural roads I drive down is that it's hard to tell when they're doing road work, especially when you have a giant piece of farm equipment in front of you. Oh well, it's fine. Sorry, like I said, I'm distracted by the farming equipment. Huh, feats. I always like looking at the feats in this thing. Awesome blow for General Warrior. Oh my. Bond with the land. Chaos Energy Master. Technology. Meta Magic. General. Doctor. That's neat. Those kinds of fun stuff that old RPG books have. But back to the D&D campaign. So we got to this cathedral, and we were just messing around with that kind of stuff. And the the class in quotations co-DM was just being outright trying to escape the setting. This big boss fight that our main DM had planned. And so him and a bunch of other players go to the roof. Apparently they had some kind of weird wedding up there, which is fine, it's whatever. While me, my friend, and the main DM's son actually were trying to do the thing that we were supposed to do in the area, which was to go fight the basically the shredder, which is fun. This is a long little drive here. Like I said, I'm stuck behind farm equipment, so I don't mind waiting for a bit. I'm sorry. Like I said, farm equipment's this farm equipment's like really slow. I don't know what to expect. I'm doing 10 miles an hour. But anyway, we're the first thing we do when we get to the area and we see the turtles talking to us is, of course we try talking to the turtles, and the monk goes through and tries to explain what's going on with the turtles and everything else, and tells us the backstory of everything else, and he doesn't actually have magical powers. It's just something that he made himself believe, and it's ultimately fine. It's just one of those things. Well, then uh, the co-DM in quotations tries to he opens up the door, which, mind you, the entire area is surrounded by these zombie creatures, and he attempts to just book it. The DM says, "You're in a giant parking lot. It's like one of those giant churches that you see on the interstate, off of the interstate. These massive. There's nowhere to go. There's just a sea of undead every fucking where." Which I like the idea of that. God, this is taking forever. It's fine. That was ridiculous. I don't think I was supposed to go this way. Okay. This is ridiculous. I got separated from the fucking pace truck because of a fucking piece of farm equipment. I hate this day. I don't know. I'm frustrated because a piece of farm equipment just blocked me off from being able to keep up with the pace car that I was supposed to follow. You know, it's one of those things you deal with when you drive in the middle of nowhere. Ridiculous. Utterly fucking ridiculous. I don't know why they didn't let the farm vehicle just go by. It makes no sense. They should just let it go by and not worry about anything else. But hey, that's what I get for traveling down the back roads today. Oh my goodness. I should have stopped this video a while ago, but I'm still going because I feel like talking. This video really doesn't have much of anything to go to. It's just me running my mouth. But the campaign itself, the guy, the co-DM was just trying to escape this escape. Got told that when in the middle of the parking lot, there's hundreds of these zombie creatures around. You're not getting through this. I go to the roof. Is there anything I can grapple to? No, there's nothing else in this parking lot. It's legitimately just a parking lot. You're not grappling anywhere. Huh. Okay. He tries to leave the door open, but you know it's a giant cathedral. We can hear the different sound. So my character goes to see what's going on and closes these giant doors because he was actively trying to just get us all killed at this point. He wanted the campaign to end. So, jump forward to the boss. Me and former friend and the main DM's son are sitting there carving a path through the undead down below. And we get to the boss chambers. We'll meet up with the rest of the party. They came down there and met up with us. Don't know how they got ahead of us, but did. That part wasn't explained. But they meet up with us and we go. And suddenly, co-DM says, "Oh, we're just gonna go ahead and fight the boss." But we have all this other stuff to do. We have other things to do. The turtle people, the actual turtles, wanted us to go and take care of getting the kitchen freed up first, and then worry about the boss. Because if we get the kitchen freed up, we can knock down the portal. Well, co-DM says, "Oh no, don't worry, we got this." So apparently he talked to the DM at some point and said, "Hey, my character's, I'm going to use, I got this." So what happened? So what happens next is just the most asinine thing I've ever I could experience, and the fact it happened just pisses me off to him because it's led to just me being so angry. So we fight our way to the portal, the area that is being protected by this barrier, which has the the basic shredder in there. The guy who thinks he's shredder now, but he's big and monster size. And monster, basically a giant guy who thinks he's shredder. He has a little costume, makes him look like Shredder, but that's about it. It's a shitty little costume. But anyway, we get there, and before anyone can say anything, Codium says, I go up the door and knock on it. The door opens, and then he says, I want to talk to your leader. Rolls persuasion. I think he gets like a 18. So it just barely got past. So the barrier dropped, he walked in, and door closes behind him. That's weird. Okay. So we're out there for about 5 minutes. Both him and main team go down. Co-DM and main team go down into a different channel, talk, and then come back about 5 minutes later. He comes back through. The portal opens up. Well, the barrier drops down. He comes through. And he says, I do a hand gesture and the barrier drops. Okay. But the problem is, none of us got a chance to do a perception roll or do anything to determine whether or not we saw the hand gesture or anything else involving this. It just happened, and then he moved right on to the next thing. And I think one place that I wanted to roll, we'll pass that point. So yeah, no one got to see the thing. Got to see the hand gesture that drops the barrier, because now a random player knows it. Code DM knows it, and his little NPC thing that he had following him around knows it too. Anyway, so Monk runs in, former friend Monk runs in to go get basically this crystal that Shredder has. He wants that crystal. As soon as he runs in, the barrier pops back up. And my character, who's pretty much been a bro, having a little bromance going on with the monk, starts beating on that barrier, telling the guy, "Let me in." Cody says, "Are you in character says, are you going to help him?" "Yes." "Then no, nope, not gonna let you in." My character's trying to convince the rest of the party to help him, and of course, the only person who says anything is the most useless player of the entire game. So here's the equivalent of this one character. She was a fire genasi, and between not knowing what spells she had at any given time, lacking any creativity to do anything, we were in a room earlier on in the campaign, and the only way out of the room was to use fire. We found this out because we were blocked by this wall and we're trying to bust our way through the wall. Well, nothing we did used it on it. Then someone said, "Hey," we got to the fire genasi turn. We asked her. Well, it wasn't her turn. It was generally trying to get out. We asked her out of character, "Hey, do you think you have anything that can get through this wall?" "I don't know. I'm not really. I'm pretty much used. I always miss her rolls." So she was also this time busy playing the Harry Potter game. So that's about what time this is going on. Other people try doing things. Most party isn't actually trying anything. So I said, "Hey, you are basically fire. You have all these fire spells. Yeah? Why don't you try burning our way out for us?" Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I guess I could try. She does one fire spell. Oh, look, the entire wall burnt away. Good job. Legitimately, this was like, I hadn't said anything the entire time. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't trying to bust my way through because at this time I still had strong strength. I had strong strength the entire campaign. But I didn't want to take the spotlight. I was trying to let everyone else figure something out. And 20 minutes later, I finally said, "Hey, why don't you use a fire spell? That's the only magic that no one else has right now." Got us out instantly. Other times of her doing absolutely nothing was in combat. If she missed a spell, I guess that'd do nothing mid-turn, and just that's all she would do. Basically, if she cast a spell and missed, she got upset. If it wasn't combat, she didn't care much about it. She didn't roleplay with anything. One of her complaints from me and the monk were we didn't roleplay with her in the game. Mind you, she didn't want anything to do with my character because my character's quirk was he's paranoid, so he stays up way too late trying to set booby traps and everything else to keep us safe. He doesn't trust anything because he thinks a lot of things are a government conspiracy, and he is very much addicted to coffee to the point where coffee is the cornerstone. He's trying to get everyone to drink the coffee he's making. The weird little hive mind coffee shit he's got going on. But yeah, I finally managed to defense the barrier because it ends with me not being able to get the barrier. That's when the session ends. So the next session kicks up with me trying to get through the barrier still, and Monk getting his ass kicked inside by himself. So from earlier sessions, my character had a fling with this innkeeper inside this little dream world we got put into for a little bit. Well, my character starts having visions of her as we leave this little dream world, as we basically leave the orc compound. So we came out of dream world, woke up in a pen, basically a prison, a little pen that these orcs had us in. They were basically mercenaries and they basically were a group of people who all mutated into orcs, and they decided to band together and just do enslave people to grow stuff. By the way, all this took place. All this was taking place in Chicago, the city of Chicago. So we're gonna assume this was like in like a barren area of Chicago. I don't exactly know, or at least around outside the city limit of Chicago. So on the way back to where we were, basically IKEA, we took over. Um, we decided to. My character started having visions of the innkeeper. Okay, and he was very smitten with the innkeeper, like love at first sight kind of stuff. So he just stops the truck he's in and just wanders off that he was driving, because he's one of the only people he's one of the only characters who can actually drive, because he has the highest animal handling skill. He's sleep deprived, extremely sleep deprived. He's any skill check I roll is I have to I'm rolling a disadvantage, and I'm somehow driving this fucking truck. Fantastic. No other players that were there that night drove with my character. In fact, they stuck all the NPCs that weren't. They stuck all the NPCs in my truck and kept all the player characters who weren't there in the other trucks for safety, which I recommended. But I stop the truck and start wandering off into this cave because I see her. And I'm yelling after her. I'm yelling, Barb! You there? Come back! Chasing after her, and eventually I come into a cave and we fight this monster. And the DM describes to me that I'm able to see some kind of, I see basically an image of her inside this beast. So we fight this giant monster, giant hulking flesh golem monster. We kill it and we rip out I rip out this crystal thing, and I pass out. I just pass out. So during this time, they decide to look inside. After my character passes out, they decide to finally look inside my thermos, see what's inside my thermos, because I have two things. My character passed out with two things in his hand. He basically uses his thermos as a melee weapon. His melee weapon is his thermos. So I've basically been using the thermos as every time I got a new weapon, I basically just added the stats. I just added the thermos skin to the new stats, or I took part of this weapon off and attached it to this thermos I have on my hand. Essentially that. So if I got a new mace, I took the head off the mace and attached it to the top of the thermos. So now I have a bigger striking hit. Stupid stuff like that. I roleplayed. I heavily roleplayed everything I did with this character. He was a pinball technician. So his javelins he had, because I could have javelins. The javelins he had were pinballs. He kept in a little bag on his person, and instead of throwing javelins, he'd be throwing pinballs as hard as he fucking could at people. Small little things. His Eldritch Blast, because he was a paladin, and then he started going specs of warlock, was to shoot. He basically magically charged a pinball and shot it at a target. I also had that weird tentacle thing that comes from the body and hits everything 10 feet of me. I basically figured it as it looks like raw, just looks like the texture of the tentacle is pretty much just a meatball, because my character was kind of losing his mind at this point between the character Barbara, the meatballs, the fact he's going insane from lack of sleep, and all this other stuff. He is a mess mentally, and I was just having fun with him. He wasn't a shitpost character, and he wasn't overpowered either. He was way not overpowered. Which brings another thing. My character was technically one level above everyone else, because the DM thought it'd be fun. I'd talk to him and say, hey, if you ever want to kill my character, because I didn't have any in-game for my character didn't have any goals. I literally just built him something as a character to basically help protect the party because we didn't have a tank. So my job was to be the tank to help Josh out the best I could in different situations, so he can make harder combats, and I could be there. My character could be there to basically help lessen the blow. But I told him if you ever want to kill my character, I have a